Hello. In this video I'm going to show how we grow yam from shop bought yam. I bought this yam for about £3 15p. This will be trying to grow a yam within 1 year that will be as big as this. I will have to use about a third or a quarter, something a little bit bigger than a quarter. So between a quarter and a third of the entire yam to be able to grow a table-sized yam like this within a year. This will be about this point. So I cut this. It's a good looking yam. I put some ashes on it, or any other fungicide that you get from the market, and wait 24 hours so that it gets dry. On the following day, I put it in the soil. This is January. It's about the best time. Between December and January is the earliest time that you can plant our yam, and the soil would need to be very fertile. We use manure, maybe chicken manure, horse, cow. These manures have to be well rotted, not coming out of the cow right away. No, it has to be there for a while. Mix it with the soil. The chicken manure been there for a while. Mix it with the soil. Now this yam, by about November, I should be able to harvest it, and I'll have a yam that is big enough, about as big as this or even bigger. We call it a table-sized yam to eat. But what I want you to note is that I've taken about a third of this whole yam. So you can imagine a farmer who wants to plant maybe 100 yams. It means it's going to need about 33 yams to cut each one into 3 for him to be able to make 100 yams. That is a lot. Compare this to somebody growing tomatoes. If I wanted to make a basket of tomatoes, I wouldn't take 1/3 of a basket of tomatoes and plant it for me to get a basket of tomatoes. From one single tomato fruit, you can get 4 or 5 baskets, because there's so many seeds that will produce so many plants. But this yam of this size will produce just an additional 200%. That is 100% double its size, 200% triple its size, and then maybe 300%. That's it's going to now become about 4 times of this size by November. What I'm trying to say is that it is just too expensive growing yams this way. But we'll still do it because I'm going to wait for this to dry, and then I'll plant it tomorrow, and then I'll continue growing it, and that's how to grow yams from fresh shop bought yams. But grow it this way This is a lot of yam. You're now left with this, and you have to do it on every single yam for you to get a yam that is big enough the following year. That is too high an investment. That's about 30% investment to regain your 100% again. The investment in growing yams is very, very high. And remember, yams can actually develop diseases. That's why we've had to think of a way. What else can we do? We use smaller cuttings, and then we get a smaller yam. We call that a seedling. And that is the seedling that you would buy at the market and grow in a year. So somebody else has grown a small cutting of yam to develop that seedling in about a year, and then the following year you buy it and you grow it on. So the yam is actually a 2-year business for you to get a whole yam like this. If you want to get a yam within 1 year, this is about how much yam you're going to have to put into the soil to be able to get a big yam. Now, there's a further innovative way of growing yams, and that is, once it starts developing leaves, we can use those leaves vines to create hundreds of seedlings. So this is why I say it in every one of my yam growing videos. People need to start systematically trying out growing your yams from vines. I know this is a video of how to grow yams from shop pot yam, and that's what we're going to do. But imagine this amount of yam. That's how much yam we're going to be planting. That's a very high investment. It's about 30% to gain the entire yam again. It's too expensive to be producing yams this way. We found another way. You can grow it by the vines. Yet, this way still works. It's what people do a lot of the times. So they come up, make it a bit smaller, and then they get their harvest. But the bigger you make your piece of yam, the bigger the yam that you get at the harvest time. And my friend, Madam Adebayo, has grown some small yams and some big yams. And she's going to show us the yams now. Watch it.
Hello guys, this is Mommy Adebayo yam from this our farm, this small little farm. We harvested it yesterday. This is the yam and this is the potato, but the next one is going to be bigger than this one. We harvested the yam from here, so this is it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So when you get a yam like this, you know right through it's clear of disease, then I would be planting this piece. These small yams, that's about 1/10, and then I'll grow that separately. It's going to produce a seedling. and that's planted. I will plant this after it has calloused over. I will not put it down like this, but down like this on the soil, because the roots are going to be coming out all over, and the stem could be coming out from anywhere. You don't want to put it down this way, because this will encourage the stem to come out right away, and you haven't got a lot of roots yet. So if you put it down flat, downwards, not completely downward, put it down in an angle, it will give this time to develop roots before the stem breaks the surface of the soil. And the soil that we're going to put it in, put it about 2/3 of your container or your bag, and then put another 1/3 of soil on top, so that the yam is going downwards and upwards. You don't want it to break surface too quickly. You want it to develop a lot of roots. Give it time. It will come out at the right time. And then you have yam growing very nicely. Not the whole place is full of stems and leaves, whereas it doesn't have good roots, because the plant needs roots to feed this yam. This is the storage. This is storage stem. That is what we eat. So it needs a lot of roots around it to be able to create this after about 10 months. So it may remain in the soil for 8 to 10 weeks before you even know that any yam is growing there. Sometimes even up to 12 weeks before you will see your yam coming out. But when it breaks the surface, the leaves just, so you have to be prepared with what you want to use to stake it. It grows very fast, because by then it would already have a lot of roots developed. When you're growing your yam this way, you can still cut some of the leaves and try to create yam seedlings. It's not going to affect the yam. If you just cut a few vines of it, you can create the yams from the vines. That will give you seedlings, so that you'll have seedlings for the following year. So you will have your full grown yam, and if you have been conscientious enough to create seedlings by use of some of the leaves, vines, you will have this whole yam, and you will have some seedlings as well. That's one way of doing it that I think will bring down the cost of production of this yam. Because if all we do is put it in the soil and wait until we get just one yam out of it, that's too expensive. You need to be able to create more out of this yam. So when those leaves start growing, remember, cut off some, create seedlings. Watch my video on how to grow yams from leaves and vines. I'm going to make a further video on how you can make a structure, like a sort of an enclosure for the yam seedlings, because you don't want them too much direct sunlight. They need to be in a humid environment that is supportive of their growth. So just keep an eye out, and the video will be out soon. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I hope you'll be able to grow better yams. See you in my next video.